We are in Jamaica Plain, South Boston, and we are at the Forest Hill Cemetery. And this is going to wrap up our trip here in New England. It's been great. So we're just going to walk through and find some interesting graves. So let's go. The gates just opened. I did an episode in Savannah, Georgia, Bonaventure Cemetery, looking at some graves, Ring the Bell, Saved by the Bell grave. And then there was the grave of Gracie, who's very, very famous there, but I think this might be one of the other iconic graves here with the statue of another Gracie. Now, I've covered the boy in the boat here, which is a marvelous statue, and here is statue of a young girl, and it is protected by plate glass, curved plate glass, which is almost priceless, I would say. Oh, it's not priceless, but I mean, to recreate this would be insane today, by today's standards. Look at the detail. I just love the shoes. Yeah, this is a great piece of art, and I imagine it may be the same sculptor as the boy in the boat, maybe not, if I will put the information here when I go to editing. This is marvelous. Again, this is much better than plexiglass, to be able to see through it, see all the details. And if this were not protected in glass, it would be melted away like a block of salt in the rain, which we have seen on so many numerous occasions. I'm looking for the inscription of the sculptor, and let's just look at of course, her name. Here's something here. There you go. Morsier, S.H. Beautiful. Just beautiful. A bed. Just a simple bed. Bed of a child, but there's no child. The covers are pulled back. Just a pillow on the ground. The child has left for the night to another world. Look at the relief of the angel, protecting that child as they slept. Not enough, though, sadly, probably of disease. One of the many diseases. And it would not just be one child. but it would be many back in those days. The Boston Fire Department. Some beautiful bronze reliefs here in memory of departed comrades. This monument is erected by the members and friends of the Boston Fire Department. June of 1909. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's what it was like the turn of the century. Oh, there's another one, dramatic. Look at that. Looks like it's all four sides. And there they are, rushing to get to the fire. Sacrificed their lives, the brave firemen. Rest in peace, boys. Heroes. Heroes are the firemen. A family plot surrounded by wrought iron. Josiah Vinton, 1825 to 1872, and Harriet, widow. Does that say widow? I think so. They're all here. They are all here. Let's look at some more over here. It's beautiful how some of these family plots have the stairs, and it's such a grand entry enclosure. Of course, you had to have money. These people didn't have as much money here, but they had pretty good money. In those days, to get a stone like this, you had to have, just like this even, you had to have pretty good money. Quite decorative, some of these are, and holding up pretty well considering the climate here. These marble. You know, a lot of it has to do with the acid rain and less to do with the cold. So this tells me maybe Boston has a little cleaner air than Chicago. What do you think? Judging by, if we saw these here, they'd be like at Graceland. They're really melted down. Civil War. What an amazing statue. erected by the city of Roxbury in honor of her soldiers who died for their country in the rebellion of 1861 to 1865. The rebellion. It sure was a rebellion. Let me tell you. An interesting small Gothic mausoleum. Souther is the name. The cemetery has multiple tiers. We're on the edge of one here. Breathtaking. Looks like a plexiglass covering over the bronze works. There is stained glass behind that. It's too bad. Can't really appreciate it with that plexiglass. It gets so foggy over time, you know? Let's take a look inside. Remains. Now we can see the stained glass. Interesting. Very plain. It's an interesting, not sure what that is. There, a vase. Maybe for holy water, I don't know. As the bell tolls, another haunting mausoleum for the Baldwin family. Scott Baldwin. Boy, this looks really haunting. Gothic. Let's take a look at this amazing door. Look at that. Just imagine what it took to make this. The lion head. Mesmerizing. Mesmerizing. Don't you wish you could have a key? I'd love to see in there. Here's a couple of more mausoleums. Down these shady paths. Early morning. It's the time to do it. It's time to come. Calm air, cool, and amazing shadows for the Mahoney family. Look at another amazing door with a M and a wreath for a relief. Again, where's the lock? Where's the key? Let us in. Let it be. Here's a look inside. We are at one of the higher points, maybe the highest point in the cemetery, overlooking this beautiful pond that is the center feature. And it's great for orienting yourself because you can really get lost in here, let me tell you. Well, we'll have a quick look up here. And then we'll go down and close it out at those mausoleums. Got to look at those. There's a beautiful statue. Is that Michael the Archangel? Or just an angel? You know, I see a few of these big giant slabs. There was one massive one I saw, marking the plot of the Bacon family, Horace Bacon. Here, died August 14th, 1850. 49 years old only. Now, I've seen elsewhere, it's pretty common, but the tiny, tiny tombstones almost always represent children. And of course, you also look for the lamb. I don't see a lamb here, but here's a stump of a tree, perhaps a woodman hint, cut down too early in life. And this one here almost looks like the headboard of a cradle. A lot of thought has been put into this plot. A lot of thought has been put into this cemetery. As an architect, I can tell you the landscaping is really, really well thought out. There was a lot of planning. And many times the cemeteries, there were architects and urban planners. I know Olmsted is one, famous one. New York, right? Well, he did a lot of stuff in Chicago, urban planning, in Riverside, West Side, the way the streets peel from each other, forming little triangular boulevards. He was a man ahead of his time, creating these neighborhoods. Didn't really catch on though. The developers want to make money, you want to pack them in, and that is not conducive to high density housing. Of course, after World War II, it was all about that. That's when the suburbs, 50s, the suburbs were invented. Thomas Burnham, 64 years old, 1850 is when he passed, and his wife Abigail. Abigail followed him just over 11 years later. She was 74. Very peaceful here. Dramatic drop off here. I don't know if you can tell, but it goes, this is pretty much a cliff. Yeah, this is a stone wall, a retaining wall. This goes pretty much straight down. So we'll be very careful, but I wanted to get a view of that. Almost looks like a casket or a coffin. And then if you look just in front of it towards the pond, there's another one. Possibly a child. Don't know. Good chance. Speaking of a monument of a casket or a coffin, that looks more like a sarcophagus. That was kind of a period in time, I think the early 1900s, late 1800s. See that in a number of cemeteries. Let's check out this family plot over here. Oh, there's something interesting. Let's head straight for it. Looks like a cenotaph marble, or it could be a grave. The marble is inset, and the inscription in that part of it is all covered in plate glass. Aaron Davies or Davis. Now this, it's got to be Davis. Weld, First Lieutenant Colonel or Company 1, 7th Infantry, number 19. So this is Davis. Bernard Weld. This one we can read a little better. There's a whole bunch of welds. (1907) death. Wife passed in 1913. Another sarcophagus. You have to really love these stairs and these entryways. Here we come down the fairy tale road, the road of fantasy. Because as I look to my left, there are little houses, little stone houses here. Look at that, hidden in the rocks. That's a temperance leader, and that's musician. What else might we find? Look at that, a whole village. This is the grocer. Would that be City Hall? Lead manufacturer up here. Of course, we must have the lead manufacturer. And as we look to our left, this may be the Associated Mausoleum, which is dark and mysterious. Fellner. Look at that. Stone door. Look at this tree. Wow. It's massive. No doubt hundreds of years old. Well, let's look at some mausoleums. This one here is Art Deco. Courtenay. Let's take a look at the door. In the bright sunshine here. All bronze. With screening, there's screening up there in those openings to let air inside. starting to get hot, guys. The humidity and temperature has been rising. So it is time to wind it down. But first, a couple of more mausoleums we must see. Frank E. Wilbur. The big lock. Big lock. Now, what do you suppose these are? Bird feeders? I don't know. Mausoleum Row, these are all built into the side of the hill. E.C. Swift. That is not the Swift that we know. Different Swift. This is Brown. Samuel N. Brown. Look at the door. Amazing. Amazing detail work. But up here, amongst the boulders, is what I think is the most fascinating mausoleum on Fountain Avenue. Now this is Gothic at its best. Look at that. Look at that. Chadwick. Look at the alcoves. Look at the dramatic shape. Flanked on both sides for the Chadwicks. And we can look inside if we're good. Look at all the vaults. One of the vault covers has come off here. And you can see what's behind it. It's bricked up. Well, fascinating. Rest in peace, Chadwick family, and farewell. Well, the bell tolls, and that means farewell to you. Thanks for coming along with me on all of these episodes here in New England. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. All of these wanderings and fascinating stories and places here. Second time here, not as far this down south on this trip. I'll tell you, I definitely want to come back. I could spend a year or two here. But that said, it's time to go. And we'll say farewell here. Everybody stay safe, and I'll see you back in Chicago.